Fins up. Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. It's time for your latest dose of Dolphins news. In today's update, we've got some exciting news on the return of cornerback Nick Needham to the active roster. But there's also a bit of a setback as another key player is sidelined. Let's dive right into the action. The Miami Dolphins made two significant roster moves this week. First, cornerback Nick Needham is back in action. He's been activated from the reserve/physically unable to perform list, which is great news for our secondary. However, on the flip side, offensive lineman Isaiah Wynn finds himself on injured reserve (IR), which means he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. Isaiah Wynn's absence adds to the offensive line's woes as he joins Pro Bowl left tackle Terron Armstead on IR. Armstead got injured during Week 4's game against Buffalo, but should be eligible to return to practice next week. So, who will step up in Wynn's place on the offensive line? The Dolphins are likely to turn to either Lester Cotton or Robert Jones for the starting left guard position in the upcoming game against New England. Another option might be to bring back Liam Eichenberg to that position after his recent stints as a backup center, where he started 2 of the past 3 games in the absence of Connor Williams. Now, as for Nick Needham's return, it was a decision that needed to be made quickly. He had been practicing for the past 3 weeks, but the Dolphins had to act before a critical deadline. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio mentioned that Needham was getting valuable reps on defense. It's worth noting that Needham's return comes at a time when the Dolphins' secondary is dealing with its own set of injury concerns. Jevon Holland recently entered concussion protocol after a collision with linebacker David Long Jr. during the Week 7 game against the Eagles. Cornerback Xavier Howard missed that game due to a groin injury, and his status for the upcoming game against New England remains uncertain. There's even a chance that we might see the 3-time All-Pro Bowl cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, back in action for that game. Fangio has indicated that he sees Needham as a valuable asset in the nickel or dime corner position or even as a safety in his defense. However, it's essential to remember that Needham hasn't played since his Achilles tendon injury last season. Given the circumstances, it might be a bit early to expect him to have a major role against New England on Sunday. If Jevon Holland ends up missing the game, it's likely that former starter Brandon Jones will step up. He filled in for Holland during the Eagles game, so he could be the one to watch out for in the upcoming matchup. That's a wrap on the latest Miami Dolphins news. While the return of Nick Needham is a positive development for our defense, the offensive line faces more challenges with Isaiah Wynn joining Terron Armstead on the injured reserve. As the Dolphins prepare for their next game against New England, stay tuned for further updates on Xavier Howard's status and the potential return of Jalen Ramsey. We'll be back with more updates soon, so keep supporting your Dolphins.